Hi, welcome back. This is episode 3, and it's the first episode of making money. Now, you might find it strange that with making money, the first topic that I choose to talk about is value creation. That's really not a term that's very common, especially when I was young. Nobody ever talked about that when I was going through school. But I'm going to talk about the concept of added value and how that relates to just in a broader sense, a healthy economy, and hopefully through that, it'll shift your paradigm a little bit about your job and your career. And I'm going to talk about the secret to making money. So it's really interesting that I mentioned that. I'm going to talk about that first, actually, the secret to making money. I go and talk to high schools a couple of times a year about career and jobs, and I guess how my career ended up meandering through a series of relatively fortunate events, so that at the end of the day I ended up doing and having successes in my career in places and areas that when I was young I never planned, and ultimately that's the message. And the talk's pretty well received, but the slide that really gets everybody to sit up is this one, where I say, well, I'm going to tell you the secret to making money. And ultimately, the punchline is, the secret to making money is to add value and then to find a context to create and deliver that value. Ultimately, it's about finding a customer. And the example that I use in the class is, we all know, conceptually at least, how to add value to a potato by making it French fries, right? We could take a potato, we could cut it up, we could put it in a basket, put it in some hot oil, and then put some salt on it. And we've really added value by changing that potato into French fries. Unfortunately, for almost all of us, we don't have a context to add that value and to deliver that value, because we don't have a brand, we don't have those red cups that you serve and sell fries to. And so ultimately, making money requires both your ability to add value and creating a context to add that value, whether it's adding value in a job, in a business, doing some contract work, etc. So the point is, make is equal to value creation. Now, in the short term, we don't often think about it that way. We think of make as being the time we spend at work, because we're paid by the hour, or we're paid per unit time that we're spent. And that may be true on a day-to-day or even week-to-week or month-to-month basis. But I can assure you, your employer and your customer, in the long term, they're evaluating you on the value you create for the money that they pay you. So no matter how you might think about making money, ultimately, making money is about your ability to create value. And if you extend that even further for your entire career, your career is really the sum of all the activities that you do to add value. Now, we can think of our life in really two phases, right? That when we're young, up till our mid-20s, we're in kind of a learning phase, where we're going to school and we're studying and we're learning how to add value, hopefully in ways that make us happy, for our future. And then for the remainder of our life, we're really spending that time, hopefully, creating value and adding value to the world. Now, I say the remainder of our life, and you might say, well, what about retirement? Well, this is just me. I don't really believe in retirement. What I do believe, however, is that there's two phases in our lives for value creation. The first phase, which hopefully is short, right, is creating value, doing something that we absolutely have to do. We might love it, but it's ultimately, we're motivated because we need to create that value to put food on the table or a roof over our heads. And the second phase, which hopefully is a very long phase, is that period of our life when we no longer need to do that. Maybe we've saved up enough money and we can actually add value doing absolutely what we love to do and jump out of bed every single day.
I'm just living the dream.
Okay, so why am I talking about this? Why is this important, and why is this relevant to you and I? Well, if you extend it to all the careers in our economy, if you really think about it, then our economy is really the sum of all the value creation activities by every one of us. And in fact, it's healthy if we create more value as a whole than we consume. So if you want a little bit more insight into this, a really good book is Michael Lewis's Boomerang. Michael Lewis wrote The Blind Side. He wrote The Big Short, Liar's Poker, a bunch of other books. Really good writer. If you want to learn about some economies that haven't done so well and what caused it, it's a pretty easy read. So that's about it for value creation. I thought it was a really good starting point for make, even though it's maybe not as obvious a starting point as you would have thought. But just in review, we've talked about the concept of added value. And at least a basis for healthy economies, and hopefully that'll give you a cause for shifting your paradigm about your job and your career and point it more in the direction of value creation as a whole. That's it for this particular module. Before I leave you, I have one question for you to ponder, and that is, name one topic you would enjoy talking about for an hour. All right, and this was suggested to me by a friend of mine, Dave Anderson, who runs a workshop called My Life Online for young students about internet safety. But Dave pointed this out to me a few years ago, and it stuck with me. And his point was, if you could name something that you would enjoy talking about for an hour or even for a day, isn't that what you want to do for your career? Anyways, I'll leave you with that, and I'll see you later. Take care.